Well, he just said it. Donald Trump just said live on air during a Fox News town hall that he plans to be a dictator on day one of his presidency. He's going to be a dictator, not for the border, but for himself, so he can hold on to power for the rest of his life, go after people that he doesn't like, and more. Like, folks, I hope the overwhelming majority of Americans can agree that American citizens should not be voting for someone who claims openly that they're going to be a dictator, regardless of the reason. Donald Trump is completely against American ideals. He's completely against what we stand for here, and I hope that even the people who are Republicans can see him saying, I'm going to be a dictator, and say, yeah, that's not for this country. We don't do that.
Yes, there is murder going on social media. I believe you've seen this. I still have a couple of videos I'm going to play. Trump says he will be a dictator on day one if elected president. And this is the Guardian. Former President Donald Trump declined to rule out abusing power if he returns to the White House after being asked to respond to growing criticism of his authoritarian rhetoric. The Republican presidential frontrunner has talked about targeting his rivals, referring to them as vermin. Okay, this is the talking point the mainstream media pick up. It's like they have distributed everywhere, like Trump wants to be a dictator when he's re-elected, so people need to be cautious. It is getting boring. Trump had this interview with Fox News. A question surfaced. His response was just on the first day, I will shut down the border, I'll do this. That was all.
Do you in any way have any plans whatsoever, if re-elected president, to abuse power, to break the law, to use the government to go after people?
You mean like they're using right now? So, in the history of our country, what's happened to us, again, has never happened before. Over nonsense, over nothing, made up charges. I often say Al Capone, he was one of the greatest of all time, if you like criminals. He was a mob boss, the likes of which Scarface, they call him. And he got indicted once. I got indicted 4 times.
I want to go back to this one issue, though, because the media has been focused on this and attacking you.
Yeah.
Under no circumstances, you are promising America tonight, you would never abuse power as retribution against anybody.
Except for day one.
Except
Look,
what?
he's going crazy. Except for day one.
Meaning?
I want to close the border, and I want to drill,
That's
drill,
not
drill.
That's not.
No, no.
That's not retribution.
I'm going to be, he keeps, we love this guy. He says, you're not going to be a dictator, are you? I said, no, other than day one.
It's kind of like that.
Believe him.
We talked about this. Remember the answer we talked about, and Donald Trump doesn't do it. He had previous interview members said, you didn't take all those documents back to your beach club. I did, and I had the right to do it. And Hannity kind of droops his head. But the point is, again, he's saying now just explicitly, I'm going to do a bunch of stuff on day one, and if anybody believes it's going to end in day one, I've got a bridge to sell you across the river here. So this is what we're hearing from Donald Trump more and more, and it's the reason we're hearing more and more from Joe Biden about the dangers of a potential second term.
Well, I mean, Willie, think about it. If any other politician in American history were asked the question, are you going to be a dictator? No. Donald Trump never answered it. He never answered it. And when he said, and I just want, there's a sickness. There is a sickness among, unfortunately, some of our fellow Americans regarding authoritarianism and totalitarianism. They want it. Because, Willie, when he promised that he would be a dictator on day one, he got applause.
Well, and that's
Even
on
before-
Fox News,
even
and there's
before he
a
took-
lot of people watching who are right on board.
Even before he talked about the border, which a majority of Americans would support closing the border today, probably an overwhelming majority, are drilling. By the way, what a stupid thing to say. Drill, drill, drill. What a stupid thing to say. You can tell he doesn't even read the newspapers, and the people applauding that don't even read the newspapers.
Do you have any plans to abuse power, break the law, or go after people? And here's the thing, Van. We timed it. He didn't answer that question for 5 minutes. For 5 minutes, he obfuscated, didn't give a yes or a no for 5 minutes, and when he finally did answer, the answer was dictator on day one. What do you hear there?
Well, I mean, in some ways, it's kind of like the guy at Ellis Island. They say, do you advocate supporting overthrowing the government by force or violence? And he goes, violence? Right? This is a very easy question. It's a simple yes or no question. And there was an opportunity to set the record straight, to tell people, I do not plan to do this. I plan to follow the law. He didn't do it. There's not a single human being on earth that would take more than 5 seconds to answer a question like that the right way. He couldn't get it right in 5 minutes.
You know, the mainstream media, when they pick up a talking point, all the mainstream media will be saying the same thing. It's like a script that they usually distribute. Trump had to be asked twice during a televised town hall event in Iowa hosted by Sean Hannity of Fox News to deny that he will abuse power to seek revenge on political opponent if re-elected to the White House. Under no circumstances, you are promising America tonight you will never abuse power as retribution against anybody. Hannity asked Trump in an interview taped in Davenport, Iowa on Tuesday, except for day one. Trump responded. Trump said, on the day one, he referred to he will use his presidential powers to close the southern border with Mexico and expand oil drilling. Trump then repeated his assertion, I love this guy. He said of Fox News host, he says, you are not going to be a dictator, are you? I said, no. Other than day one, we're closing the border. We are drilling. That is what Trump said. Really tell me if this is a bad thing for liberals to be concluding like, oh, Trump said he will, especially the small one at the beginning. I've been watching him for some time now. You know, they are paid actors, on TikTok, advocating for Biden. Even Joe is collapsing. This guy would say Joe was waxingly strong, so you can't say Joe is not strong enough to run in 2024. So it is not funny when I see the same guys like this doing this kind of videos. Earlier in the interview, Hannity had asked Trump if he in any way had any plan whatsoever, if re-elected president, to abuse power to break the law, to use the government to go after people. You mean like they are using right now? Trump replied. Trump understands that these people are using this kind of talking point, like he will abuse his power. He will, like watching Liz Cheney the other day. Trump campaign rhetoric and sweeping plans for a second term that include firing lies squad of the federal bureaucracy and targeting his rivals have alarmed Democrats and become a cheap election argument for Biden as he prepared for a potential rematch against Trump. Donald Trump has been telling us exactly what he would do if he's re-elected, and tonight he said he will be a dictator on day one. Americans should believe him. Biden campaign manager said in a statement. Biden earlier told campaign donors Tuesday that he wasn't sure he would be running for re-election if Donald Trump wasn't also in the race, warning that democracy is more at risk in 2024 and that the former president and his allies are determined to destroy American democracy. That is a video I watched. Joe said he could not run, but because Trump is running, he is going there because he knows he's the only person that can beat Trump. So he knows the way out, and I pray that should not repeat itself. What are your thoughts on this clip? Drop on in the comment sections. Let's discuss.